Today's presentation is simply titled The Three Biggest Website Mistakes That Are Killing Your Business and How to Fix Them. And that's the key here is how to fix it because not a lot of people know that their websites have problems that could be preventing you from getting more leads or more customers or even more sales. So let me just tell you a little bit about me first. My name is Adrian Newman. I helped found Numero Uno in 2012. We actually started out as a digital marketing department of one of Canada's largest independent financial publishers. And then in 2012, we decided to incorporate on our own to offer our digital marketing services to other businesses in the area. So as Tammy mentioned, we do SEO, search engine optimization, including showing up in the new AI search. We do paid search like Google Ads. We do content marketing, blog posting. We can write static pages for your website, social media management. We can manage your entire social media account, including doing some boosts, some paid ads. And we do full website development and design. That's whether it's from scratch or whether you want to augment and improve your current site. And it can be something very basic of, maybe 5-page site up to having hundreds of products on an e-commerce site. We've helped hundreds of small to mid-sized businesses get customers doing digital marketing over the years. So in this presentation, I want to just talk about why your website still matters more than ever. And I know there's a lot of different things that are going on right now with regards to digital marketing, with AI, with Google business profiles, and with social media. But let's talk about your website. And the reason why your website matters more than ever is that it is your 24/7 digital storefront and sales. So if somebody is looking for you online at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're going to find your website, and you better be putting your best foot forward. And if it's glitchy, if there are some issues that maybe you don't even know about, you are going to experience what's called a bounce. Somebody is going to come to your website and immediately leave, and chances are good they're never going to come back again. It also helps your online reputation. If you have a great looking website, if you have a great performing website that gives what's called a user experience, a positive user experience, it's going to help your reputation online. You're going to look a lot better than somebody who has a bad website. I'm sure we've all been to some websites where we look at them and we think, what is going on here? And they might say, this might not even be a real company. So that's something that you have to keep in mind with your website. It's also the central hub for your brand. So if you're building up your brand, your website is really where it is at. You need to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward and you're showing the value that you provide your customers. Finally, it is still a key indicator for Google and the LLMs. That's the AI stuff. So even though a lot of what's called zero-click searches are happening, that means people are just clicking the call button on Google business profiles, or maybe they're reaching out on social media, Google will still look at your website, and ChatGPT and Perplexity and all the other AIs are looking at your website as your core foundation of how you are doing online. So it's key to make sure that you are having a great website and putting your best foot forward. Okay, so let's get right to it. Mistake number one with websites. And this is something that I see a lot of, and that is slow web speed. It's amazing how things have changed because nowadays, 47% of people expect a site to load in just 2 seconds. And I remember being on a webinar about 5 years ago where that number was 7 seconds. So things are changing. There are a lot more expectations, and your website needs to load fast or people are going to leave. Every second delay is going to cut your user satisfaction by 16%. So imagine if your website takes just 7 seconds now to load, chances are good that your prospect is going to leave your website and they're going to be frustrated. I'm sure we've all been there. You've been to a website and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And finally, you're like, forget this. And you hit that back button and you're probably never going back. And nearly 70% of consumers say page speed impacts their buying decisions. So 7 out of 10 people that are visiting your website are going to be influenced by how fast your website loads, how fast it performs. And if it doesn't, chances are good they're going to leave. And finally, Google will penalize you for a slow website. If your website is loading slow, and you can check, by the way, how your website's doing by going to something called Google Page Speed Insights. You can see it'll give you just kind of a quick synopsis of your website on desktop and on mobile. Basically, if everything's green, you're good. If it's yellow, you need improvement. If it's red, you got problems. But if your website's loading slow, but your competitors is optimized and loading fast, they're going to rank that competitor ahead of you. So it's something to keep in mind. And not a lot of people realize that their website is running slow. So that's a mistake, slow web speed. So let's now move on to how to fix it. Okay. So how do you get a fast website? The first problem I see with a lot of websites are images. Images are too heavy, they're too large. You want to show a good high resolution image, but you need to be able to compress it. There's a website called Tiny JPEG that you can go to that will help compress your images without losing resolution. If you have a web developer, you have to make sure that your images are optimized properly. So that means you're not losing resolution, but they're loading fast. I've seen this a lot. There was a client that I had that had really beautiful pictures of the equipment that they sold, but they were taking forever to load. You need to compress your images. Secondly, is lazy loading your media. Lazy loading means basically anything that is out of sight of the viewer when they first come to your website doesn't load until the viewer gets there, until they scroll down to that side. So you're not loading up everything at the same time, which takes time. If you have a web developer, you should be telling them to lazy load all media. That's images, videos, graphics, any kind of movement. You want to make sure that you do that. You also want to minify code. If you have an old website, chances are good it's full of code that you don't need. If you get somebody to get in there, you can minify it. You can have your website load a lot faster if your code is simplified. And finally, check and upgrade your hosting. I've seen this as well. Some companies go to cheap hosting companies, their website takes forever to load. When you go to a hosting company, and I'll just be straight, I don't do hosting, but I know a hosting company that can help you, that always has uptime and that will help you load your site fast. The key here is this. A faster website leads to a better user experience. It'll improve your search rankings. You'll get higher conversion rates, which means you'll get the person to either submit a lead, buy your product, or call you. And you can have less people leaving your site. So let's head on to mistake number 2. And that is no clear CTAs. And CTAs stand for calls to action. And here's some kind of examples of some calls to action that I have. But the problem is motivated visitors will come to your website. Maybe they're looking for something on Google that you sell to help solve their problem. They get to their website, they're motivated, they really want to do something, and they can't figure out how to contact you. Maybe you have a small contact us button in the footer. They can't find it. There's no clear way for them to contact you. So they are stuck and they just leave the site. Yeah, they were totally impressed, but they can't contact you. Imagine walking into a retail store and there's nobody there to help you. It's the same thing. You're just going to walk out. There's, on the flip side, there may be too many calls to action with different messaging. And I've seen this before. Customers have had, book a consultation, get a free quote, submit a request for a free download. Too much can overwhelm somebody and they don't know what to do and they just might leave. And finally, the call to action copy is too vague and uninspiring. And really, if you look at the list that I've got there on the left, that is kind of vague. What am I getting here? You need to explain what the call to action is going to give you, or people are just like, submit. What am I submitting to? So let's figure out how to fix it. Number one, clear copy and intent. You need to make sure that you are accurately, clearly identifying what you are going to do. So, for example, if you have a website and you are going to be giving a free consultation, put that in there. Click here to sign up for a free consultation. If you are having somebody download your e-letter or downloading a white paper, put that in there. Download our free white paper. Uh, Opt in for our free e-letter. Simple, clear, concise calls to action. You want to make sure also that it's above the fold or in the sticky hero bar. And when I say above the fold, that is the piece of real estate on your website that the user sees when they first arrive. You do not want them to have to scroll down to look for the calls to action. The sticky hero bar is the bar at the top that usually stays at the top even when a user scrolls down on your website. You should have your call to action, at least the main one that you want somebody to sign up for, right at the top. And I recommend the top right corner. You also want to stay consistent with your call to action messaging. So if the main call to action is to book an appointment, have all the buttons say book an appointment right through, whether it's at the top, as they scroll down, maybe you're listing your services, book an appointment should be below it. At the footer, book an appointment. And finally, you can try different things on a regular basis. So maybe 1 month you have book an appointment as your call to action. The next one, maybe you want to try, have them download an e-letter. Maybe you want to have them sign up for your e-letter for a discount code. Try different things, but make sure you keep consistent when you do that. Remember, if you don't have a clear call to action, you're going to get no action. Okay. And finally, mistake number 3, and that is not mobile friendly. A website that is built for desktop that shows up poorly on a smartphone is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen. The reason is 63% of web traffic comes from mobile. Plus, those people are 5 times higher to abandon your website. That means they're going to bounce if your site isn't optimized for the phone. I've seen slow load times too. So this goes back to the first mistake, but maybe the website loads great on a desktop, but when it gets to a mobile device, it takes forever to load. You're going to get a much higher bounce rate, people leaving your site when this happens. The reason also that people don't like to do business with you on your mobile site is tiny untappable buttons and links. So sometimes the links are just unidentifiable. They don't know where to click. The buttons are too small. They're trying to zoom in. They can't click, and there's no clear way for them to contact you. And that's because your site is just not responsive, which means it's not looking good on a mobile phone. You might also have unreadable or microscopic text. So everything looks great on desktop, but on the mobile phone, it looks horrible because the font isn't responsive enough. That means it's not showing up in the right size that it should be, that is easily read. Nobody wants to be looking at their phone like this. And finally, broken layouts. And what that means is images move, paragraphs move. So you have all of a sudden this big gap of space between your headline on your website and your images or your first paragraph of text. You want to make sure that the site looks fantastic on a phone as it does on a desktop. So how to fix it? So you want to adopt what's called a mobile-first responsive design. If you've got a web development company, if you're working with a designer, you want to make sure they're designing for mobile first, then work on the desktop side. Always test on all screen sizes, whether it's laptop, full screen, tablet, and any kind of phone. And it's easy to do if you have the proper web development company doing it. You want to make sure that you optimize your images and typography. Like I said before, compress those images. Make sure that they're showing up right. Make sure that your fonts are responsive and that your paragraphs aren't overflowing across so that you have to have somebody scroll left and right. You want to enlarge all your tap targets. So those are your buttons, your links to 44 pixels by 44 pixels minimum. You want to make it easy for the person to see that that's a call to action, that they want to tap on it. And that's the best way to do it, is to make sure that it's that size. And you want to simplify your navigation for thumbs. And this is something I see all the time. You want to make sure that somebody can hold their phone with one hand and scroll vertically on your website. They shouldn't have to go left to right to see things on your website. It should all be a straight vertical scroll and you'll do well. Remember, mobile frustration leads to instant abandonment. That people are 5 times more likely to leave your website, and it could result in lost revenue. So just to recap, these are the mistakes, and this is your action checklist. Number one, speed optimization. So make sure that your website loads in 2 seconds and test it often. Go, if you want, every few days, check your website. It's not a big deal. And if something is off, you need to contact your hosting company or your web firm to fix it. Number two, call to action enhancement. So make sure that your calls to action are clear, that they're visible, they're above the fold, and they're always there, and that they're filled with tangible benefits. And number three, your mobile experience. Okay, ensure that your site looks great on mobile with easy navigation and optimal user experience. Remember, 5 times more likely to abandon on mobile. So there you have it. Your website can be your greatest asset. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to this presentation. If you need help with your website, you can contact me. My email address is a.newman@numerounoweb.com. You can call me direct at 647-793-1479. And for everybody who's on this call, I'd be more than happy to give you a free website consultation. That means I'll take a look at your website. I will have my developer review it and give specific recommendations so that way we can fix it if there is any problems. Thank you very much.